Hi class, this is our video for lesson 83, rate problems as proportions. In this lesson, we're going to review rate problems. We've done tons of these. And I'm going to show you that when you have a rate problem, you can also work that problem using proportions, using conditional proportions. I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes when you read through problems, you might be wondering, is this supposed to be a rate? Sort of like a unit multiplier, or is this supposed to be a proportion where I cross multiply? I'm going to show you that you can work these problems both ways. So let's start with the example that they show you in lesson 83. They give you a problem, 7 apples can be purchased for $2. They want you to work this as a rate problem, and then they will show you how to use it, how to work it as a proportion. Sorry, tripping over my words. Okay, so remember when we do rate problems, we read through the problem, we get our first rate. Our problem is our information is 7 apples can be purchased for $2. We write that as a rate here. Number 1, 7 apples for $2. And then it's a simple matter to get our second rate. We simply flip that and get the inverse of that, $2 for 7 apples. Then what we would do is we would read our problem, ask ourselves what kind of unit we need to end with, and when we figure out what unit we're ending with, then we choose the rate that has that unit in the numerator. So our first problem asks, how much would 10 apples cost? So we're looking for an answer in dollars. How much? So we're going to use rate 2. All right, so we'll write that down. We know we need rate 2. We know we're going to end in dollars. I'm going to write my dollar sign here. Okay. Okay, so what is the information we're given? How much would 10 apples cost? Let's write that down. We've got 10 apples. We multiply it by our rate. Our units cancel. We see we're going to end in dollars. Probably more appropriate just to leave the D there for now. All right, and then we just do the math. So we have 10 times 2 over 7. That's 20 over 7. And that goes in 2 with, for dollars, I'm going to have to get a decimal. So we're going to do it this way. It goes in twice. We put our decimal up there. 7 goes into 68 times. 8 times 7 is 56. Drop down another 0. That goes in 5 times. That's 35. Okay, we'll go one more time so we can round it. 7 goes into 50. 7 times. It's 49. All right, so 2 and 857 thousandths rounds. Remember? Put up your door. Who's that knocking on my back door? 5 or more, raise the score. 7 is greater than 5, so we round this to 6. So our answer is $2.86. Okay, that's how we use rates to solve problem number 1. All right, and very quickly, number 2, how many apples could be purchased? So we're looking for a number of apples. That means we will use rate number 1 because it has apples in the numerator. Our information is $16. Right, multiply that by our rate. All right, that's 16 times 7 over 2. 16 times 7, I already multiplied that out here. That's 112 divided by 2, and that's 56. 56 apples can be purchased for $16. All right, that's a review of rates. Now we're going to work this problem using proportions. I kind of find it a little easier to use proportions. I don't know why, just a preference. So maybe you'll like this. In the practice today, they're going to give you a problem and they're going to ask you to solve it both ways. So you'll need to use rates and make it look like what I just wrote. And then you'll need to use proportions and cross multiply. All right, so how would we do that? Let's erase our information that we used for our first, working this with rates. 7 apples can be purchased for $2. All right, let's write that in a rate. We're still going to need a rate. 7 apples for $2. How much would 10 apples cost? Right, when we write a conditional proportion, we write two rates that are proportional to one another. And when we do that, we always have to have the same units on the top or the same units on the bottom. So if I'm looking for apples in my second rate, the apples will be on the top and the dollars will be, excuse me, on the bottom as well. I know I'm going to be setting this equal to another rate. How much would 10 apples cost? What is the information we have? 10 apples, and we're looking for dollars. There's my proportion. Now this is just a matter of cross multiplying. So when I do my math, I drop out my units momentarily. So 7 times x is 7x. I set that equal to 10 times 2, which is 20. Now I need to get x by itself on the left. I divide both sides by 7. These cancel. Once again, we're left with 20 over 7. I won't work that out again for you. That was $2.86. Okay, let's work the other problem as a proportion. How many apples could be purchased with $16? Now, I can still use 7 apples over $2. It doesn't really matter which rate I pick, as long as apples are on top and dollars are on the bottom in both rates. How many apples could be purchased? So I'm looking for apples. Okay, and I know that I have $16. Right, let's cross multiply those. Let's drop out our units for a moment while we write our math problem. $2 times x, set that equal to 7 times 16, which is 112. Get x all by itself by dividing both sides by 2. X, again, equals 56. All right, so it's really not hard at all. If you know rates, if you can do rates, you can do your problems with proportions, conditional proportions. Okay, that's what they're going to ask of you today. Just one problem. Okay, signing off.